Hi guys, I'm going to run you through a quick demo of the 8 standard reports that we've got. I'll just run sort of through their use case, how they work, and you'll just be able to see how dynamic they are. Just a reminder that off the shelf we do overnight refresh, but we've also got the option for every 30 minutes to load data. It just costs a little bit more each month due to the data loading that we have to do. So the first report I'm going to show you is our quote conversion report. Now you can get this basic numbers out of Simpro pretty easily. You know, how many quotes have been created, accepted, gives you your conversion rate. We then pull through the accepted revenue, gross profit, gross margin, and the profit per hour. You're going to hear me talk about profit per hour a fair bit. It's really hard to get, but it's by far the most important number in trade business, hands down. We also bring through quote conversion depending on what margin you've quoted at. You can see trends over time for your accepted revenue and gross margin by salesperson, and the ability to just change months. So if I just wanted to say, look at the last 3 months, I would click those 3 months, and that would bring up the last 3 months of data. So that just brings up instantly the last 3 months. You know, we might want to look at Jackson and what Jackson's doing at the second. We might want to compare Jackson and David. And we can see here, David's converting at 25% compared to Jackson's 36. So then it opens up questions. What's Jackson doing differently? Well, I come over here and Jackson's getting quotes accepted at 38% and David's at 45. So maybe David is just over quoting jobs a little bit. He might be not as confident or new. And so then we can, streamline our quoting process so that it's accurate and we're quoting at the same margins to lift this conversion rate. You can filter by financial year, quarter, and month. So I've got the ability to look at Q2 of 25, and I might want to look at how that compares to Q2 of 24, and then we can see the difference. So we might be able to pick up on, we've changed our quote follow-up process, etc., and what's the impact of that being. By end of week, it'll filter by multi-company. So if they've got multi-company coming in, just select which company you want to look at or compare a couple against each other. Filter by client, how well we're converting by each client. So that would come up there. By cost center, once again by salesperson, and by job size. So by job size is really important. You can start to look at different brackets and how well you perform depending on size of job. And you can really build out an estimating model where we're targeting all of our sweet spots. The next report I'm going to show you is the non-productive hours report. So all businesses have all different types of non-productive hours. If we want to keep it simple, we say, downtime, training, and workshop. This will pull through all of those hours. So we're looking at FY25, total amount of hours, cost to the business, hours per employee, cost per employee, and the opportunity cost. So we'll bring through their average profit, build that on top of their cost, and that's what they would have generated if they weren't doing those non-productive hours. It'll give a list of the employees down the bottom here. So when we're using this report, and we go, well, this dummy data is a little bit crazy, but we've got 21,000 hours. Like, that's outrageous. But I can come here and see that it slowly builds up, and I can have a hit list of 4 or 5 employees that I look at. I might click on Joe here, and Joe's got heaps of training. Joe's got 1,600 hours of training. That's just not acceptable. There's no way Joe needed that much training. But then it'll bring up all the dates, the times, and the opportunity cost of all Joe's training. The other thing that these reports will do is highlight with data going in wrong, it comes out wrong. The reports are only as good as the data. So I can look here and go, okay, well, on the 7th of the 9th, 2024, 75 hours of training. There's no way that's possible. And then that gives us the ability to go back to that date, have a look at Joe's timesheet and fix the data, because there's no way that he did 14.7. You can filter by work type, so you can split them up if you wanted to. And this report is used really to have a KPI around what's acceptable for non-productive hours, because every business does have them. If you're trying to run at 100%, it's unattainable. So you have that KPI set. The other thing would be is if the team always says, we're busy, we need another person, you can actually look at this and go, well, we don't actually need another person because we can fit all this revenue into our existing team. We just need to have a look at why we have so many non-productive hours, and maybe we change the schedule or reduce training, etc. The next report is our uninvoiced jobs report. I'll just reset all the filters, which we tell clients to always do if they're going to start looking at the reports again, because they may have left a filter on and we get phone calls saying the data doesn't make sense, it's not pulling this through, and usually they've got a filter set. This will pull through every open job in Simpro. So even if it's got a progress invoice on it, it'll come through. It only disappears once it's like invoiced and archived or whatever that status is that it goes to. So let's say there's 758 jobs open. It'll give their total out of pocket right now. So all the costs accrued that haven't been invoiced for, remaining revenue, if there's quoted works with progress invoices on there, it'll tell them the remaining revenue left, average days jobs are open, and also from complete to final invoice. That's a really good metric to manage your cash flow. So many businesses miss invoicing dates and they've got to wait another 30 days for payment. So keeping that as low as possible. It'll bring through those 758 jobs into aging brackets. And so, we've got between 60 and 90 days, there's 87 jobs. We know there shouldn't be, so we click on that, and that's going to give us a table of all those jobs. Now, if I pop that open, I can filter all of these columns, highest to lowest and lowest to highest. And so I'll do my out of pocket, highest to lowest, and this is my hit list of getting invoicing out. So this one's got 10 grand worth of out of pocket. All I do is go across, click on that hyperlink, it'll pop the job open instantly in Simpro on another screen, and you can look at getting an invoice out on it. It also pulls through last note. So, you might, as you're going through, see the last note, go, I don't even need to look into that job, it's still in progress, or we are going back to site next week, or whatever the last note was. Heaps of filters once again. Down the side, you can click on status. So I know in my plumbing business, the team used to leave jobs in the wrong status and they'd get lost in the system because we're doing so many jobs. And so I'd go to jobs in progress. Okay, we should not have 264 jobs in progress. That's outrageous. Once again, I would open that up, go into the list and start to tidy that up, get jobs closed out, put them in the right status. Got our job profitability report. Every completed job comes through to this, whether it be quoted or maintenance. Couple of different ways that I use this report. So looking at trends over time of my revenue, profit and gross margin. So seeing how we're improving over the year. That gives me a summary piece, depending on the date range of what we've done in revenue, profit, margin, hours, the revenue per hour per person and the profit per hour per person. We can filter, once again, financial year, quarter, month, by end of week, by company, client, cost center, what cost centers, how the jobs with certain cost centers running profitability wise. It's a good one to see, how jobs for certain clients are running, by job size and by project manager. So, if there's a client with a more of a management structure, like a layer of management with project managers or team leaders, they can come in and just look at their own jobs. And so I might have one of my managers, say Angus, he'd come into this report because I would always get my team to access the reports, not the field stuff, but any management. And I'd get Angus to every week just look at the jobs that he has been in charge of that ran last week. And so that's what I've just clicked on there. So he can come in here and go, oh, well, I'm hitting my profit per hour target. My revenue per hour is good. My margin's good, but where can we improve? Pop these jobs out, come across, might want to look at gross margin. And so we go lowest to highest and we go, okay, these two jobs are under target. Click the hyperlink. What happened? What do we need to fix? How can we improve this week? What went wrong on these jobs? Do I need to talk to a client? Do I need to talk to one of the team out in the field? Do I need to talk to our estimating department? The other thing that I always get them to look at would be the ones that are way too high. And so we can see 100% gross margin, no cost. So what's missing? How do we have jobs with no cost? That doesn't make any sense. So we've pulled revenue through. It's showing we're running at 100% margin. So we'd go in, make sure we get the costs added, or that we just archive the job so it doesn't come through, and then it'll fix up the numbers, which will reduce your gross margin. So it means that we're not getting carried away, because a lot of people, this is what happens, especially in the Simpro reports too, is that people just start to not trust this number because they're looking, they're like, there's no way we're running at 50%, or they think they are, and then they get to the end of a quarter and they've made no money, and that's because all their data's wrong. Next report is the estimate versus actual report. So this is a lens on all your quoted works and your project work. So what we want to know is what we're quoting happening on site? And so we'll pull through the total amount of completed project jobs, total that underperformed on labor and underperformed on materials, and give you that in a graph. So whether it be you're severely underperforming on labor and you make some changes, you'll be able to see that trend. On materials, so we've been quoting materials wrong, or we need to get better buying power, or we're purchasing from the wrong supplier and we change that, we can see the trends that creates. Exact same as the job profitability report, look at it over a long lens, or once again, break it right down and just have a certain person look at what they're in charge of. And so we've got Angus again, he's looking at his last week and the quoted works completed, and we've got 9 total jobs completed, 5 underperformed, 4 overperformed. So, but we're quoting at a 48% margin, running at 51. So Angus is going to go, okay, I'm doing pretty well, but more than half the jobs underperform. So 4 out of those 9 actually sent out margin above target. So we could do so much better. Pop this out, gives you all the jobs, and it'll give you estimated profit versus actual, margin versus actual, profit per hour versus actual, labor versus actual, materials versus actual, and it will traffic light system where you're winning and where you're losing. So you might look at actual profit and you want to highlight that from lowest to highest, and it'll bring up the jobs you need to look into. Once again, it's that constantly looking at it, picking up on consistent issues, fixing those issues, driving jobs from the red into the green, which is a net profit impact. Okay, this is our callbacks or warranty call report. So, a lot of businesses, especially in certain trades, like I know with plumbing, it's a nightmare, these callbacks when you're dealing with water or roof leaks or whatever it is. So we look at total amount of callbacks, the cost to the business. Once again, the opportunity cost, that's the actual number. What would have we generated if we didn't spend these 238 hours fixing jobs? But then our thing is, like, where do you start looking from there? Like, you can get the team together and give them this big number, but nothing's going to change. So what we've added in through a custom field is who is responsible for it. So I've got 21 callbacks here. Straight away, I know I need to get Shelby in for a conversation. So we get Shelby in. I'd have this up on the computer or TV or whatever is in the meeting room, and I'll be showing Shelby this report. So first off, I'll be showing her that we've got 21. You've got a third of that at 7, and this is how the rest of it looks. We give the opportunity cost. There's $10,000 worth of opportunity cost. These are all the jobs, and we can just click that hyperlink, go into the job, show photos, etc. And then Shelby's very aware of the jobs and the reasons and the mistakes that she's making. And then once you say that needs to drop, this is so easy just to constantly measure it. So you would just keep selecting Shelby and look over the next 3 months. Did she go from 7 down to 2? Well, that's an improvement. That's really good. And over the next 3 months, let's get that down to 0 or 1. Which means we can fit all this opportunity cost back into the business. And that's a massive net result for the business. Revenue matrix. So with the revenue matrix, we've got revenue and profit by client, revenue and profit by cost center. Especially for B2B, this report doesn't necessarily 100% suit like your resi sales type, one-off jobs. It does from the cost center point of view, because then you can actually see what types of work are making you all the money. But B2B, you've got your client as well. So I'd click on Darlingtown Systems. They give us $1 million worth of work. It'll bring up their summary. We run at 28% for Darlingtown Systems. This is how they trend over time. So it's our biggest client. So I'd be able to watch this and see that we've had 2 months that have trended down. So I'd jump on the phone here before this happens, before they just stop using us, which happens quite a lot. I can also start to compare them against Northwood Enterprises. Okay, so we do a quarter of the amount of revenue, but they're close to double the amount of profit. They're on at 46% margin. So how do we get more work off Northwood and Ironbanker? Because they're highly profitable clients, and start to become less reliant on Darlingtown systems because we're running at such low margins for them. Once again, by doing that, you're just building a better business with more net profit. It's the same amount of work, you just make more money. Last one I'll run you through is the technician performance report. So what we've built here is a report that will give you all of your technicians in the field, their user score, another custom field, but this is for how well they're using Simpro. We had massive issues, safety docs, photos, times, a bunch of different things that on a checklist the team just wouldn't do. We start measuring it, it improves. So they just get a yes or a no in a custom field. Was everything done or wasn't it? And it pulls through a score. You'll get instant improvement. It'll pull through if they had any callbacks, what revenue that person has generated, the gross profit, the total profit per hour, and then that split between quoted and do and charge, or maintenance and project work. Now, if we, once again, you would look at that over a long period of time, and then you'd always look at it every week. How did we go last week? And that would bring that up. And we go, oh, Daniel's underperformed compared to normal this week. He's running at $62 profit per hour. If I pop that down, it'll give me the jobs he did for the week, what made up those numbers, and you can see he had a couple of really good jobs, but we can look into these 3 jobs to go, okay, was it even Daniel's fault that his profit per hour was so low? Hyperlink in, go in, see what happened. This gives the team a really simple metric in profit per hour and a few simple metrics to manage their performance on. So user score, are you doing everything on Simpro that you should be? That creates a healthier relationship between the field staff and the admin team, because all of a sudden the field staff are doing everything they should, the admin team's job's easier, and everyone gets along. Then this profit per hour number is so simple. So if we've got a target of 55, we would look at everyone under 55, and I would go to John Roberts here, and the conversation with John is, how can we improve your performance by $5 an hour? We're not asking John to make us $1 million a year. We're just saying, how do you improve by $5 an hour? What are you doing on site? What's your processes? This is how we can support you. What do you think you could do better? Do you want to spend some time with Daniel, who's running at 180, see how Daniel goes about his job? And we don't need John to get from 50 to 180. We just want him to get from 50 to 55. And if you've got 20 staff and they all improve by just $5, that's a few $100,000 in net profit extra for the business at the end of the year. On top of this, over the next month or so, we've got 3 amazing reports coming out with your WIP job tracking style report, pipeline forecast report, and a marketing report. So then you can see the real return on investment for the money spent. If I've missed anything or you've got any questions, just reach out. Happy to run through these reports. You can always get me at my email address, and I've always got plenty of availability to catch up with anyone. So thanks. Hope you enjoyed looking at the reports, and I'll talk to you soon.